My name's Callen Schaub, and this is the FAQ. All of the frequently asked questions, they're all in chronological order in the description below with timestamps so you can refer to the different questions if you are looking for them. So here we go, let's get to it. First question, what type of paint do you use? What brand of paint? Do you mix anything into the paint? The answer to that question is I use Tri-Art. They have a line called Art Noise. That's what I use. Do I mix anything into the paint? No, I use it straight up. The colors are vibrant, the flow is perfect, comes in large 16-liter pails. Thank you, Tri-Art from Kingston, Ontario. Love you guys. Next up, what do you think of others doing your style? I love when other people do my style. I really like it when people give credit for the inspiration that I have brought forth. I used to get upset and not feel like, oh, people are stealing my thing, but really, ultimately, it's a huge compliment where it's a conversation of artists. So it's really wonderful when one artist can inspire another. So it's very humbling and very sweet. And that's really what I'm here to do. I'm here to inspire. I think it's awesome when people try my style or develop upon it or take it in a new direction. It's awesome. Okay, did you go to school? Yes. I went to school for art. I went to Etobicoke School of the Arts. It's a great school in Toronto. Then I went to OCAD University, Ontario College of Art and Design University. I did a thesis in drawing and painting. It's a 4-year program. I did it in 5. And in my second year, that's where I discovered sort of this particular style or technique, you could call it. Why do you waste paint is another question. On the online community, it's very easy to throw shade, to say something negative. The creative process is not always linear, so there's a lot of times when what I do isn't something that I'm happy with, and so I need to continue searching for that magic, that spark that will, that inspires me and something that I really want to represent myself. Not every time I pour paint does that happen. So that would be a reason why I have to paint over paintings. Another reason why I would need to paint over paintings is because I'm trying to make you feel something. If I create something and then I destroy something before your eyes as a performance piece, that idea of attachment is very interesting. Sometimes I can make somebody feel more by destroying than creating. So that's another reason. Also, I would like to add that in the arena where I do my spin paintings, I have canvas on the floor, and I also have canvas around the perimeter. So all of the wasted paint is actually captured, and they're like time pieces, span for sometimes months or years of like multiple paintings, like entire series of paintings that build up. And then those studio floors and studio walls then become artworks themselves. So there's really not a whole lot of waste. I love the splattered paint and capturing that as well. As a snap sort of response, people see it as waste, but I really don't see it like that, and it's part of the creative process, and I think a lot of creatives understand that, and people that are maybe not in the industry as much, they see it as waste, but I'm trying to educate them. It's not that maybe they're just misinformed. So yeah. Okay, so next question here. Who inspires you? I'm most inspired by the people that are like in my life that I know personally. I'm inspired by my partner, Sparkles. She's always there and always supportive. I'm inspired by my mom. I'm inspired by my agent, I'm inspired by the people that are on my team because like we make it work together. That's a very small team. My girlfriend, my mom, and my agent. Or how about like the people that make my paint, Tri-Art? Or how about the people that make my canvases? Zeke from Faux Canal Cadrez. All these people that are helping me, I could put on a bigger artist. I could say, oh, I'm inspired by, blank, insert like large, artists that people already have heard about here, or I could put on the people that are in my smaller network, How about the guy that drives, my paintings across the country, Bob from Black on Black Designs, like he's inspired. I want to put on and I want to put the attention on the people in my life that are helping me to get to where I'm going, that are believing in me? Or how about being inspired by the people online, like the other artists that I've never met, the small artists that just, getting going and they're taking a chance and their account has few posts and they're putting their stuff out there and they're insecure. I'm inspired by them. I'm inspired by people that I don't know that are taking a chance on themselves and believing in themselves. I'm inspired by those people too, the community online. I want to put the attention on the real people, the people that I know, the people that I don't know but are in my community, those people. Not the people that already made it. I could speak to that, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to build a community, so I'm inspired by those. How do you come up with prices? All right, prices. So I determine prices by size, and it's also based on what I've sold for before. So I've been doing this for 10 years. At one point I had to have a starting price, something that I was comfortable with. My first sale was 4 foot by 4 foot square. That was $800. And so that was my starting price. And then once I had sold that and the market validated that price point, then I could increase the price. It's all by size. It's not by time or materials or how much I like it, any of those things. Forget about all that. It was totally about just the dimensions and what I've sold for before. So I continually increase my price over time. I've come a long way from that first sale in a coffee shop on Queen Street. Shout out Julie from Redline Coffee, another person that put me on back when I wasn't anybody, nobody knew me, before I was even on Instagram. So, shout out to Julie, Redline Coffee. She always said, remember the little people. Well, I remember you, Julie. I really appreciate it. She took 0 commission and sold my stuff, from her coffee shop. So respect. Where are you from? I'm from Toronto, Ontario. That's in Canada. I grew up in Etobicoke. Now I live in Montreal. I moved here for love because Sparkles lives here. So I live here in Montreal. My studio's here for a short period of time. I had a studio in Toronto and in Montreal, but right now my studio is just in Montreal. I love this city. I do not speak French though, so that makes it a little bit challenging, but it's never too late to learn. What happens to the paint splatter? I sort of answered that question a little bit earlier, but I line the interior perimeter of the, is that even a thing? Interior perimeter? I line the interior of the arena with canvases, and also the floor has a canvas, and so that captures all the splatter from the spinning apparatus, and those turn into paintings as well. I'm actually really excited to share those with you. I'm in quarantine right now, so I can't go anywhere, but when I get back to the studio, I'm going to document some of these, I call them overspray paintings, but they're like almost the excess splatter, the incidental pieces. So those will be coming soon. Where did you get your spin machine? I made my spinner, that's what I call it. I guess you could say it's sort of homemade. I made it while I was at OCAD. It's comprised of various bike parts. My friend had a bicycle that got smashed by a car. My friend is okay. The bike was not. He was bummed out, and I'm like, all right, let's try to take this negative thing and make it positive. I'm gonna take this broken bike and make it into a thing to make paintings, the spinning machine. That was my sort of culminating project, I guess you could say, for my second year of welding course at OCAD University. Yeah, so it's a bicycle. I crank it, and the back of the canvas is held by 2 C-clamps, and it's basically like where the wheel would be of the bike is instead of canvas. I've been using the spinner for 10 years, and it hasn't gotten any sort of an update or anything. It's the same old one, which is kind of amazing that it's still holding together. I have to clean the chain periodically because it gets all gunged up with paint. I really like to think of it as like a museum piece. It's been with me all around Canada, the United States. It's seen every show I've done, over 10 different solo shows, and performed for audiences of hundreds and hundreds of people with this same bicycle. So I do have a pretty connection with this thing. Every single painting you see that's on my account has been done with this one machine. I do have a new machine which is made for XL canvases, and so we're going to be making a very, very large canvas soon. It's going to be a 20-foot canvas, and that machine is made by Black on Black Designs for super massive, oversized work. How do you attach the canvas to the spin machine? Basically, where the free wheel is, that's all the gears on the back of the bike. Then it goes to the sprocket or whatever. Instead of it going to what would be the spokes and the tire and the wheel, instead there's a metal bar and there's two C-clamps, and those C-clamps grab on to the crossbar on the back of the canvas. And so that's the way that it stays fixed. How did you discover your method? I have not always been painting. I like to think of myself as always being an artist, but it was not until my second year of university where there was a mandatory 6-hour painting class. The assignment was you can do whatever you want. I watched everybody in the class approach their canvas in a similar method, sort of a more traditional method, using a paintbrush. They started to paint, things, and I thought, I wanted to be different. I wanted to mix it up. So I went down to the potting department. I got a potter's wheel, and I brought the potter's wheel, back up to the classroom, strapped the canvas to it, and started spinning it around, and got paint all over everyone's bags and everything in the middle of the classroom, and made a big mess. And that was sort of the beginning. And it was a performance, also just an exercise in seeing what the paint does. Shout out to Dan Solomon, who was my professor, and that was his kind of advice, was to see what the paint does. And I really kind of took that to heart, watching what the paint did under centrifugal motion. And I just kept on going down that pathway of spinning canvases. The results were never the same. No matter what I did, they were always different. So even if I did the same thing twice, the results would still be different. I was really fascinated by that, and so I just kept with it. After graduating, then I started to do the suspension of the pendulums. In later years, developed the chalice of chaos, which is just a can with holes in it. But yeah, the trapezes, the color cradles, and all the swinging apparatuses, those came in later years. But it's always been sort of with that substructure of the spinning canvas, which I discovered in second year university. Is anyone else in your family creative? I am a middle child, 2 sisters, one older and one younger. They are also very creative. My mom, she's not a career artist, she's an artist though. And my dad is an energy consultant. My mom's profession, she's a teacher and a librarian. Yeah, my dad's an energy consultant. Right now he's focused on the COVID-19, but usually he's more into environmentalism and stuff like that. And when I was growing up, I diagnosed for dyslexia. I've always sort of had to knowing that it's just harder for me to read and write. That's basically what dyslexia is all about. Everything is kind of flipping in 3-dimensional space when it comes to letters and numbers on pages. There's benefits and negative things about this condition, or a learning disability as they call it. In other ways, I think I benefit creatively. And later on in my life, after having a whole education of learning in non-linear ways, I can get to the same destination. My road is not straight. I have to kind of learn things differently and do things differently and figure that out for myself. Later on in my life, my mom revealed to me that she's also dyslexic. It's kind of interesting because I didn't know that, and I'm like, why didn't you tell me? She's like, you never asked me. So, she works with me. We collaborate on concepts and titling, the naming of artwork. We really have an artistic connection in that way. My sisters are like my little sister, oh my gosh. She is super, super dexterous with her hands, and she does origami and sewing and making all these elaborate things, really, really intricate. My older sister is a huge advocate for sex education, LGBTQ, alphabet soup, all of that. So it's I got all these different influences directly in my immediate family, which are very, very creative and diverse. So I would say yes, I do have artists in my family. Maybe with a broad definition of artist, art. You don't need to paint on canvas to be an artist. I think I like to think that everybody is an artist. Okay, what social cause is close to your heart? There's a few causes, one recently that cropped up and one that I've been on for a while. One recently is the Masks for All, to help flatten the curve for the COVID-19 pandemic by wearing masks. I can protect you, and by you wearing a mask, you protect me, sort of idea, washing your hands, staying at home, that sort of thing. But that, I'm going to leave that for now. What I really want to speak about in terms of social causes, bullying, specifically cyberbullying, is not acceptable. That kind of plays into this whole thing that I talk about with like the fake art. You know, people say that my art is fake, a 5-year-old could do it, it's a waste of paint. The list goes on. Not particularly here on Instagram. It's a pretty positive space here, and I'm very grateful for that, and have tried a lot to create that on this platform, but more on other platforms for whatever reason. When somebody says something negative, chances are it's coming from a position of pain. There's the inner darkness or doubt or hate or fear or something that is broken. And when somebody speaks out from that place of hurt, it's less actually about what they're attacking, and it's more a reflection of self. And so what I try to do to help is think of it as like educational opportunity. Like, here's this person, they're hating or they're trolling, you know, not to name names or whatever, you know, it's just like, you know, help to educate them, help them, because like maybe they have some suppressed thing about like they need to be creating. Somebody, you know, maybe their mom or dad or somebody at a young age said, you know, you got to get a real job. You can't be an artist. You can't, you know, follow your passion or whatever. And that's why they're hating on, you know, these rainbows that I'm pouring, you know. So that's kind of sometimes how I think about it. So, you know, being creative is a very vulnerable position, and it's so easy to throw somebody under the bus. You don't really realize how hurtful that can be. I thought this was an issue that I could address one time and be like, when I did my solo show in New York, and just be like, you know, it's called fake art, it's all about this, like I'm printing out DMs, negative DMs, people threatening me and saying that my stuff isn't art, and I'm gonna paint a rainbow over top of it, and I'll just do that one time and then it's done, it's over. I can wash my hands of that and be free of it. But it's still a problem. Bullying is still a problem. It doesn't end. That's why I need to keep on talking about it. That's why it's still hashtag fake art. That's why it's still cyberbullying is not okay. So I've been working with Bullying Canada. I donated to them this year, and I got a project with them launching very shortly with pop sockets. It's called Poptivism. Half of the proceeds of the sale of these pop grips, they go on your phone, and half of the profit will go to Bullying Canada. That's something I really believe in and I think is important. What is your favorite color? That's like asking, what is your favorite child? I love all my children. It's like asking what your favorite flavor is. I mean, as a child, I think when you're younger, you can have a favorite color. I've had a favorite color. I've had many favorite colors over the years, you know, that change depending on where I am in my life. As an adult, it's like, just like colors and flavors, you want an array, you want a spectrum, you know, you want a whole, you know, smorgasbord. You want various tastes and textures and palettes and everything. Same thing with color. How would I choose one over the other, right? If it's acceptable, if I can select rainbow or all of the colors, that would be my choice. I would also like to speak a little bit about color and emotion. I think in a heartbeat, I will choose a brighter color and say a brighter color or reach for a brighter color when I'm gonna go paint. Brighter colors are more associated with positivity, and darker colors negativity. Life is a spectrum. You can't appreciate the good, you can't know positivity and triumph and victory and love without failure and hate and destruction and all the terrible things. You know, it's a spectrum. The human condition is in polarity, and that's how we it's in our language and it's in our emotions, and that's how we decipher the world before us. So you need the tertiaries, the darker colors, to appreciate, you know, the more primary, the higher chroma key colors. So all of the colors. That's my answer. All right. Next question. Do you have any advice or tips for emerging artists? You want to stay emerging. But what I mean by that is you can fight to get to that next level of being a mid-career or established artist, but the whole process of emerging is where you're going to have the hustle and growth. It's a very exciting time. You're defining what your voice is as an artist, what your, dare I say, what your brand is. It's a very, very special time. So first off, I want to just commend you on your effort of doing that. It has to come from a real position of love. You know, you have to have self-love to believe in yourself as an artist. So awesome. You're already off to a good start. What I would say is, because of the unbridled opportunity of the internet and social media, you should take advantage of that. I have, and I found great success. So that piece of advice is coming from a position of experience. And so I'm saying to you, get on every social media platform, figure out the top 3 that work for you, and smash them as hard as you can. For me, it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Use those platforms and update your website. Just create content, improve the quality of your documentation. Even if you have an issue with sharing, because social media is all about sharing, just document everything, archive everything, take pictures, take videos, incessantly talk to everybody that you know about where you want to go and what you're doing and what you're doing next. Because you'll be surprised who's already in your network, who you already know that is going to help you go to the next step. You might not even know them, but they're watching you and they're listening, or they're ready to help you, because that honesty, that authenticity, if you can be authentic, people are going to empathize with you. If they're empathizing with you, you move them to a whole other level of, then it's a collaboration. You're working with them to achieve also their goals. That's what you want to do as an emerging artist. You want to break that barrier of just communication, be authentic with people, and they'll help you go to wherever you want to go. And document everything, create lots, create a positive space for yourself, surround yourself with positive people. There's a lot of negativity out there and you don't need it. Say goodbye to any of that. Anyone that is bringing you down, they could be a friend, they could be a family member, be where you work, I don't know. Just move on, get into a better space and surround yourself with positive people. Life is too short to deal with that. How long have you been an artist? I am now 29, so I would argue that I've been an artist for, I'd like to say 29 years, but I don't know if I was an artist while I was just born or whatever. It's fake art since 95, that's when I was 5 years old, so maybe since I was 5. If I could change that question a little bit, so it's like, I've been an artist my whole life, but I've been a career artist, like a successful artist, for about like the last 2.5, 3 years, and I've had like a 10-year career so far. What's my definition of success in that situation? I would say that like my independence, my liberty, and my happiness, those things are more precious than anything. Forging my own path has brought me a tremendous amount of happiness, and I think that has been a huge step in my career. So people often ask, how long does it take for the paint to dry? Well, the paint usually takes about 24 to 48 hours to dry. It all depends on the climate and the air circulation. If it is dry, if you have fans blowing air, then you can speed up that dry time and you can get it down to as low as 6 to 12 hours. But it all changes about the amount of paint you use. I paint all at once in one go, then that needs to dry, then I resin after that, and the resin also takes another 48 hours. So all in all drying in, I would say 2, 3, maybe even 4 days for the paint to dry. But I would also like to add on to that when it comes to me and the paint, it is never dry. So if all the paint is dry, then something is wrong. There should be wet paint somewhere. So just, if you come to an art show, just don't wear your nicest clothes because they might get a little bit painty. How long does it take you to finish a painting? The duration of a painting would take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes on the low end, like an hour and a half, like 2 hours on the max. But that does not include all of the setup. Usually I set up all day and I'm working like 12-hour days, and then the execution happens in that sort of like 15 to half an hour or like an hour, hour and a half range. That's how long it takes me to perform a painting. I think they're all performances. I think life is a painting, and it took a lifetime to make that artwork. Like it might take me 3 minutes to complete a painting, but in order to reduce it to that short time, it took a lifetime of trial and error and becoming the person that I am and going through the experiences that I've had to perform it in mere minutes. So, do you sell your work? Where can I buy it? Good question. Do I sell my work? Yes, I sell my work. I sell my work directly. You can find all of my artworks available on my website. That's Callen Schaub, CallenSchaub.com. That's my website. There's all my work. You just go to Original Artworks. You can find everything from the 10 years of work. Whatever is available is there. There's no shop. The shop is shut down at the moment. We're going to be relaunching it 2020. But right now you can still get originals and they're on my website. Do you sell your pants? So these pants, I don't actually currently sell them. I will in the future. So a lot of people are asking, am I going to come to your country to perform? I was planning a 2020 world tour. I was not ready to do a 2020 tour. I apologize. I did say I was doing a 2020 tour and that's not happening. I'm kind of postponing that. Maybe 2025 or something. I really want to come to a city near you or whatever and perform. So you can see the process with your own eyes, in person, IRL. It's just really not in the cards at the moment, but it is a life goal that I have to tour the world with my art, with the arena, go to different communities and share the colors in person. My mission is to make the world a more colorful place and to inspire people. And so I feel I can do that best by traveling the world and showing my art. Do you listen to music when you paint? The answer to that is no. My painting is a spiritual practice for me. I do not listen to music. I work in silence. It's sort of a meditative thing. It's about inner stillness and presence, and it really helps me get there. And I feel it. I'm trying to almost capture that energy in the abstract work, and then people can then feel that upon viewing it. It's really about a mind state, and the mind state informs the physical state of the colors and the paint on the surface. No, I do not listen to music. Do I like music? Yes. I also feel that music, it's other artists, and I'm trying to give a pure channel of what is out there in the universe, and what my expression is, through me. In taking a musician's work, it's going to influence the outcome of my work. So by working in silence, I think it's a more of a pure version of what I can do. That's my thinking around music and creating. Do you ship internationally? Yes, we ship internationally anywhere in the world. We can get it to you. How old are you? I am 29. My birthday is November 30th. I was born in 1990. What is your favorite painting you made? I have a new favorite, actually. I'm really proud of the painting called Effusion. Huge painting. It's 10 feet tall, 7 feet across, a monster canvas, and it's made with the chalice of chaos. That's a bucket with 8 holes in it. That idea was something that Sparkles really worked with me to produce. And so it was there was a collaborative element to it. There was the fact that it was the culmination of a month of going live, painting every day. It was one of the largest paintings I ever made. It went viral on the internet. It just represented a lot of important things to me. It's just an epic piece. It's just an epic piece. How do you find inspiration when you're not inspired? I love that question because it's very real. I work a lot. Do I get uninspired? Yes, I do. The way that I deal with that is I just go to work anyways. I paint anyways. If I'm uninspired, if I'm depressed, if I'm not feeling it that day, if my health is down, if things in my life aren't going well, do I still need to make art? Yes. Is my best work created out of those situations when I'm not my best? No, but that's how important it is for me. It's more important to me the act of doing it than it even being good or not. Inspiration, and this is not my quote, I'm quoting somebody else, it's sort of like this grace, it graces you if you create the conditions for inspiration to sort of frolic and to thrive. So if you go to the studio and you're working, inspiration might hit, but it might not, but you're there. Rather than the other way around, waiting for inspiration to hit and then go to the studio. Well, that might not ever happen. I've worked for years being uninspired. That's not something I want to tell you, but that's the honesty, that's the realness. We all go through it. We're never always at our best, and we just have to work through it. That's how I deal with it. I still just show up. I make it work, even when I'm not feeling it. People are always asking what's next. Right now, my focus is on going live every day, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, going live every day for this month, possibly into the future. It's sort of a live revolution in a way. Lots of people are going live these days, given the current state of the world. So it's kind of interesting to see. Do you sell prints? Currently, I do not sell prints. I'm going to be relaunching my online store in 2020. At the moment, there's no prints, there's only originals. Where do I get my canvases? I have my canvases made custom here in Montreal by Faux Cadres Canal. They do museum grade specific to each project that I would need. Panel, canvas stretched over it. They're made to a very high standard by my friend Zeke. And so shout out to him. I'll leave his description in the final cut of this video. I also shop at Desires, and sometimes I pick up canvases and supplies there as well. How do you title your work? The titles of a work can really inform the interpretation of it. You can really steer people in a direction with what you intended a painting to. What I do is, after creating a work, I then let it dry, I document it, I edit the video, then once that's all on the computer, I watch the video and I look at the image, then I'll put it into an Excel document with my team. We will sort of go through different iterations of different titles. The main person on my team is actually my mom, that's Callen Schaub, and she is a teacher and a librarian, and so she helps me with a lot of my titling. And so we have an ongoing conversation. We get on the phone every day, talk about what I was thinking about the meaning of the work, what I want people to feel and stuff, and there's an ongoing dialogue. Usually some of the rules that I have with the titles is I don't want it to be too descriptive. I want it to be open-ended because I want people to be able to interpret and feel the work in their own unique way. If it's too descriptive, I think you kind of take that away from people. And I wanted to provide some insight, add something of a direction that wasn't there already in the piece. So a little additional suggestion, a little tipping of the hat in another sort of, to shed light on a bigger concept that the work could allude to. Who does your hair? Actually, so here's my hair. Ooh. Usually it's done by Martha, hair by Miss Monoxide. She goes by Miss Monoxide on Instagram. It's actually her birthday right now. Happy birthday, Martha. And she's come to Miami, to Art Basel. She works from Toronto, house calls to Montreal. She's really amazing, best friends with Sparkles. She has been doing my hair for over, I feel like it's been like a year and a half, but she wasn't able to last time, so her friend Sam, I'll put his link as well in the description. He did this version of it. So thank you. And they work at Parlor. So shout out Parlor in Toronto. Do you teach classes? I used to teach classes. I currently do not teach any classes. I am thinking about providing online classes for people to take as a sort of a future project for me. Originally, before I became a full-time artist, I thought I was going to be a teacher. I was going to teach art. So I do have a passion for teaching. I think it's really important. It got pushed to the side as I've been very focused on my career as a solo artist. So where can I see your work in person? Currently, the only spot you can see it in Canada, the Art Gallery of Ontario. They have some work of mine through their rental and sales. They periodically will display the work in the gift shop and in the hallways and stuff like that. So you can see my work there. There's actually a really nice piece. It's called Hasty. You can see it from the street, actually. It's at the AGO. It's in the gift shop, and if you go in, free admission to the gift shop at least. Other than that, my work is mostly just online. If you want to sign up for my newsletter on my website, then you can get notifications about future live performances, exhibitions where you can see my work in person. I do often make it down to Art Basel in Miami on a yearly basis. I've been going for the last 3 years, so you can see my work there. The question is, can I come to your studio? The answer is no. Unfortunately, you cannot. It's not a gallery. There's no public hours, private. I work alone. A studio visit, that's one thing if that's scheduled, but there's no time where you can just come by to visit. So, do you ever paint with a brush? Got rid of the brush. I use different innovative tools and I'm always exploring. There's nothing I would really want to illustrate with a brush, you know, like I don't want to have that control. I know how to paint with a brush. I've taken lots of life, painting courses in oil, acrylic, watercolor, and that sort of thing. But I've got no interest in pursuing that. I may at some point explore that again. Currently, I put down the brush and I'm focused on just like the release of control, and I've got no interest in using a brush, no. Who is your favorite artist? I'm going to try to answer this without sounding like an egomaniac. Bear with me here. I am my own favorite artist. It seems kind of a pompous thing to say, but you have to really believe in yourself and you have to support yourself and continue to push yourself and inspire yourself. It takes a lot. If I idolize somebody more than myself, then I would only ever be in their shadow. Let's just break this down for a second. Myself, like what is the self, okay? Like there's this construction of like Callen Schaub that I've put out there online and a persona, and that is not the essence of who I am. The essence of who I am is behind all that, behind the curtain. It's the presence which inhabits this screen, this like human form. Behind that there's a light. This thing that I've manufactured, this concept of Callen Schaub the artist, that's who I try to aspire to be, the role model even for myself. Like if I want to be a role model for younger generations of artists, I have to aspire to something greater than myself. So the idea of the self is something more than just, I'm not just like patting myself on the back right now saying, oh yeah, I'm happy with myself. No, I'm saying there's an idea like beyond like this form, like there's the idealized version of myself, which I aspire to that. The hero archetype, like I want to be that inspiration, that light for people. So I have to be that for myself. That's why I put that energy there. It's a little bit convoluted and I sound like an egomaniac, but there you have it. Thank you for watching my FAQ. I truly hope that it was helpful. If there's further questions that you have, please just send me a direct message on Instagram. I want to encourage you to go to callenschaub.com, get on my mailing list, and that way you can hear about any future events, live performances, any other cool happenings that might be going on. Thank you so much and peace out.